Welcome to Burning Altar Network. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share.
Must live by his ordinances, his principles, his laws, and his patterns. If you don't know his ways, you can't live from his realm. This law is what the scholars call the law of spiritual paradox, or the law of counterintuition. You enter a realm where everything happening is contrary to your thinking, because the Bible said, my ways are not your ways. Isaiah 55 verse 8. Neither my thoughts your thoughts. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts higher than your thoughts. So if you will walk in that realm higher than this realm, then your mind must be upgraded to think how it thinks. But what you will discover is that in this law, everything we walk contrary to your natural thinking is a counter-intuitive order. It's a law of spiritual paradox. Let me give you some of the operational modalities that works here. Number one, in this order, you give to receive. Many can never understand it. That's why when you talk supernatural abundance, they are telling you, "Oga, go look for work." We are not against hard work. Paul said, if any man does not work, let him not eat. We endorse it because it is biblical. Because you are dealing with men of men before you deal with men of God. You don't meet people at that realm, you only carry them to that realm. So Paul was dealing with the whole church. He told them, any man who does not work should not eat. So we believe in hard work. We believe in smart, inspired kind of work. No laziness is tolerated in this kingdom. The Bible said, him that stole shall steal no more. Ephesians 4:28. It said, let him rather walk with his hand, that he may have to give. So God encourages working. But you see, there is a realm of provision that is beyond your hard work. When you want to operate where there is supernatural provision, the modalities change. You know, some of us who are science students, we know, you know, the law that governs particles is different from the laws that govern subatomic particles. There is a level where you are dealing with matter, physical things that are heavy, and they are obeying classical physics, the laws of classical physics. Then you switch to start dealing with those same things at their subatomic levels, where you are dealing with the neutrons, you are dealing with the electrons. You will now be shocked that this same thing in another realm obey different laws, and you are wondering what is going on. Realms differ even for natural things. So all of us, we work hard, but make no mistakes, our provisions don't all come from hard work. Paul said, my God shall supply all your needs according to his riches in glory. So there is a supply that comes from glory. Philippians 4:19. There is a supply that comes from sowing and reaping, but there is a supply that comes from what? From glory. That one is regulated by spiritual ordinance. It said concerning giving and receiving. Philippians 4:15. No church communicated with me but you only. So because they were givers, he said beyond sowing and reaping, God will supply for them from glory. That's a superior operation. Now you ask yourself, when Jesus wanted to feed 5,000 men, which sowing and reaping can happen there? Does that mean Jesus is against sowing and reaping? No, he taught the laws. He brought it to the human race. But he was in a situation where they needed to feed 5,000 men, not counting women and children. They had only 5 loaves and 2 fish. If you bring sowing and reaping there, everybody will die. You needed to go to a superior level. And Jesus asked them, what do they have? If they don't give, they can't receive. Let's operate by another law. Guess what? It wasn't a scholar that brought it. It wasn't a mighty man that brought it. It doesn't matter who applies it. Any Anybody who applies it gets the result. It was a young boy that brought 5 loaves and 2 fish. Now they have satisfied the demand of giving. Jesus collected it and gave thanks. Take and give them. And bread began to multiply. So in the realm of God, you receive when you give. Is that not a paradox? How can I want to receive and I'm giving? He said, there is he that withholdeth more than is needful, yet tendeth into penury. He said, but the liberal soul shall be made fat. Him that watereth shall by himself be watered unto. You know why many don't operate in the realm of God? They violate these ordinances. They want to keep what they have, and the more they keep, the more they are not satisfied. But there's a level you get to where you begin to learn how to give, and the more you give, the more the little you have begins to multiply supernaturally. And this is not just money. Anything you want to multiply, give it, it will multiply. It's an ordinance in the realm of God. This is the law of counterintuition. This is why the men of the mind can't understand it. They keep attacking the church, that they are swindling people. But are these people complaining? You go check their testimonies. It's not something you can reason with the mind. The natural man cannot receive the things of the Spirit of God. It's a law that is not for the mind, it's for the spirit. Number 2, under this law, you die to live. Many can't understand. You come to a realm where the measure of life that flows out of you is directly proportional to the death that you embrace. So anything you don't die to, you can't possess. Any level of death you don't suffer, you can't see life. And then you are wondering, what is the meaning of this? This is how they live in the God realm. In the God realm, you don't live to live, you die to live. See the way the Bible puts it. John 12:24. Except the corn of wheat falls to the ground and die, he said he abides alone. You see why selfish men cannot have ranking in this realm? Because they don't know the ordinance. You find a spiritual man, he looks like he's foolish, self-denier. He considers himself always as last, yet he is always the first to be preferred. And you are wondering, you who gave up everything, how come you are the one who possesses more? You who don't pursue honor, how come you are the most honored? You who don't pursue reputation, how come you are the most respected? Because in this realm, you die to live. Anybody who cannot die can never find life. Jesus himself was teaching in Matthew 10:39. He said, he that loseth his life for my sake shall find it. So in the realm of God, you die to live. Any aspect of your life where you still hold on to selfishness, you will never prosper in that aspect. The realm will resist you. Anything you fight for, you will never gain. Only the things you lose, you gain in this kingdom. Ask those that God has given influence. They died to influence many years ago. Ask those that God gave speed. They died to pursuit of things many years ago. Ask those God gave authority. They were servants. They never desired it. But at the end of the day, the more they turn from it, the more God supplied it to them. It's an ordinance that governs this realm. This is how men function in the God realm. There is a law. It's called the law of counterintuition. Your mind can't understand it, but that's the reality. Number 3, you serve to lead. I'm teaching you how to be mighty in God's realm. You find some people, they come to a place, all they are interested in is position. They want to intimidate you with their looks, their posture, their comportment. You will be shocked. I read to you here last week how God refused Eliab. Some people think they are supposed to be the head, and so when they come to a place, they never do anything. They want you to put them where they give instructions and commands. Oh, how skilled they are with giving instruction. They will sit down, cross their legs. You go there, you come here, you do this, you do that. You will disappear. Go check everybody Anybody who went up as a leader, they first of all went down as servants. This is a law that governs this realm. Those who run from service never become leaders. Not in this kingdom. The realm will fight you. So if you want to live in the God realm, you must serve to lead. Matthew 23 verse 11, it says, he that will be the greatest among you shall first of all be your servant. If you are not a servant, you can never be a leader. In Luke 22, you read from verse 25 to 27, Jesus said, the Gentiles, they lord it over those who follow them. He said, but in this kingdom it shall not be so. If you are going to lead, you will have to first of all serve, because the leader is first of all the servant. This is the mystery that governs this realm. It's a law of ordinance. This is how God thinks. This is how spirits operate. So if you want to have, better learn to give. If you want to rise into leadership, better learn to serve. If you want to live, better learn to die. Self-denial. If you don't have it, your life will be empty, dry, and frustration will eat you up. It's a law. Number 4, exhortation is a function of humility. You go down to go up. When I share things like this, I remember some of our friends 10 years ago, 15 years ago. They were so interested in where they sat in church. When there is a conference, people will run, come and keep their Bible in front, so that even if they come late, you don't remove them. And if you remove their Bibles, they will trace and trace and trace to know who removed it. They will meet the person to know why it was removed. They will tell them who told the person to remove it, and they will go and meet the person. And sometimes they are bearing grudges. The people keeping Bibles are still there. The ones who forgot about it, God gave them thrones. You need to know how to walk in the God realm, how to operate dominion, how to function in glory, how to function in life, how to operate in spirit. I keep telling you here, being spiritual is not closing your eyes and frowning. You can be most carnal in that posture. You see some people, they close their eyes as if they are operating in the spirit realm. It's a lie. You won't find the tokens of the spirit, because it's not by frowning. There are laws that makes that realm open to you. You go up by going down. 1 Peter 5 verse 6, it says, humble yourselves under the mighty hand of God. In due season, it says, God will exhort you. The one who exhorts men, he will first of all see humility in you. James 4:6 said, God resists the proud. You know why some people have not gone up? It wasn't Satan that fought them, it was God who fought them, because they violated this ordinance. Jesus said, when you go to an occasion, don't rush to the honorable seat. Somebody more honorable than you will come, and they will move you to the back, and then it will become a shame. But when you hide at the back, even if they don't give you the best seat, you'll still be honored. Don't fight for up, fight for down. Up will be given to you. This is how men walk in the God realm. When you see men in their glory and you admire them, go check their stories. These are the things that define it: service, death, humility, liberality. You'll never find any man who genuinely appears manifesting God without these testimonies. If you find anybody like that, run from him. He's a stranger. He's not from the realm of God. It's the law of counter intuition. Number 6, based on this law, in the realm of God, strength is in weakness. Strength is in weakness. In 2 Corinthians 12, you read verse 9 and 10. You hear Paul speaking. When he was trusting God for strength, this is what God said to him. And he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. So Paul said, most gladly therefore I will rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest on me. Verse 10, he said, therefore I take pleasure in infirmities, in reproaches, in necessities, in persecutions, in distress. He said, for Christ's sake, for when I am weak, he said, then I am strong. You know the mystery of this realm? Every area where you think you are a master, that's where you fail. Because you will not depend on God. It will become your strength, not his strength. And when you run by your strength, the day you meet spirits, you will discover that the best of men is not a match for spirits. That's why in this kingdom we glory in weakness, because that weakness is what drives us to depend on God. When you find people who operate God's realm, manifest God's dimension effortlessly, go and check. The area where you see the greatest manifestation was their greatest weakness, but they learned to rely on him. These are the mysteries that brings men to functioning in the God class. The first is the last, and the last is the first. Is replete in scripture because God is trying to teach you something. You know why the Bible puts these things like this? Because your flesh will always take the lead. So he's letting you know that it's not that which you are good at, it's what God is doing in you. It's not where your confidence is, it's where your faith is. Because if you make the mistake of going based on the natural sequence, you will end up using your own resources so that you take the glory. So every time the natural sequence is released, the supernatural sequence is withdrawn. And every time the supernatural sequence is operated, the natural sequence is mortified. This is why this law seems to operate in a paradoxical manner. Anybody who is first will become last. And there are scriptures, so many scriptures. Matthew 20 verse 16, Jesus said the last shall become the first. Paul was teaching in Romans 9 verse 30 to 31, and Paul showed us this strange paradox. He said the Gentiles that did not pursue after righteousness ended up attaining the righteousness of God. He said, but the Jews who first of all live by the law of righteousness, they are the ones who ended up.
If this message blessed you, please subscribe and share. God bless you.